Rad. Cool. Okay. That's a great beginning to the first step of Mitch's mic because I was having this boom sound that was going on. It was already set up. Open Audacity. Go to hit record. And it's got noise going all over the place. I don't know why. This mic is decently expensive. And I was like, why is this a thing? Stupid. So welcome to the first step of Mitch's mic. This is basically going to be an audio diary, journal, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to be doing this every so often whenever I can, pretty much. It's easy for me to edit. It's easy for me to record. It's easy for me to get out. It gets my thoughts out. My processes. It encourages me to do more work. I guess I'll just get this out right in the beginning because it's a little, I don't know. It's not that it's depressing in and of itself. I think every creator has an issue with anxiety and depression. It's not just me. But especially at the point where I'm at, where I'm just starting to do this stuff. I have a lot on my plate. I have a lot of ideas I want to do. I'm not in the best setup currently to be doing this, but I want to do it. So we're going to be doing it. We're just going to go in and do something. We're just going to do something. I have a couple notes in front of me, but other than that, we're pretty much just rambling. Like I said, it's a diary kind of a deal. We're just going to get thoughts out. Mitch's mic. It's like my own little corner. I'm naming it Mike as an M-I-K-E because, just kind of a play on words mainly, because this is my mic that I will be using, and it's just going to be me always. I shouldn't say always. I don't like to stick to one thing for too long, or I don't like overcommitting to a name. So like this being Mitch's mic, I might have people come on. I might do little things with other people, but mainly I plan for this to be a just me thing probably 90% of the time, something like that. The thing for this is that it's really easy for me to create this way because it's something where I can just ramble into a mic. I have a lot of thoughts all the time. I was like, why don't I just get these out onto the internet? Whether people listen to it or not, I might as well just go. It's good to get content out. It encourages me to do other content because I want to get the Podcomic out. That's my biggest thing, is to get the Podcomic out, to get hopefully a D&D podcast going, something, just to get content out. I think this is the best way for me to go, hey, you can do this on your own and fuck the anxiety and depression shit. You can go. You can just do this. You can get up just talking to the mic. It gets you into the rhythm of it. Fuck everything else and do the thing you want to do. Because ultimately, this is the thing I want to do. I'd like to do radio, internet radio, podcasting, whatever. It doesn't matter. I feel like I can connect with people. People in my real life always say, like, hey, everybody likes you. Do something. Like, okay, cool. What do I do? So I think I'm going to do something like this. Big hit of inspiration being, actually I just came across Mark Rubier. I think I'm saying his name correct. It's just like recent inspiration, right? Where he made a song, look it up. It's Another Idea, where he says he's in a creative rut right in the beginning, right? Then he says, just get up and do it. Just make something. Nobody cares. So that is the mentality I think I will pick up and go with. Again, this is something easy I can do in a day, right? I can wake up, I can do this, I can edit it all down. I had to edit in a picture today, but like from here on out will be easy to just kind of come back to and pump out a video that's half an hour long on just a couple notes I've written, because I can talk forever to nobody. So absolutely, Mark Rubier, MarcRebillet. His song Another Idea. Also, the song itself is incredible. I don't know, like this guy is there's a guy, Reggie Watts. He's incredible. I'm a huge fan of Reggie already. And then I find this guy, Mark Rubier, who he's also like him. He's amazing. He's more of a personable level kind of energy to him, where he wants to interact with people. Not that Reggie doesn't, but Reggie's in a lot more of the mainstream space versus Mark being in more of the YouTube space. And they're both awesome in their own different ways. They're doing their own thing, but they both have the loopers where They go in, they play on a piano, or they just vocalize into a mic and have a looper going, and that's how they make their content. That's how they make their music. Myself being a quote-unquote former musician, I still play, but I don't do anything with it. That's amazing to me. That's so cool. I really appreciate it. And the way he was just get out there and just do it. So I plan on making this probably at least once a week, I'm thinking. We'll see if maybe in the beginning I might do these a little more often because they're easier for me. Once I get into the rhythm of it, I might go, hey, fuck it. Let me go and do the Podcomic today because that's my major project. That's what I want to be done. I'll probably end up posting that once a month until I get comfortable with the way I want to do things. The next one will probably be out early February. I don't see me doing it by the end of this month. Although who knows? Who knows what could happen? Just to note a couple other projects I'm doing. I have an ASMR review in the works. I'm a huge ASMR fan. And the thing I'm going to do with that is probably, I guess I could explain the way that I'm going about doing that, which is like how it is set up. My rubric, essentially, for the ASMR review, which is I'm not looking to put anybody on blast, right? I'm not going to go up and say, hey, this person's shit who's new at it. I'm not going to do that. Maybe if somebody's not so great and they're just starting out, I will say, hey, they have a lot of potential. What I will do is give a personal rating on where they stand for me. In the beginning, I'm only going to be doing the people that I really, really like. Like the top people for me, so you know where I'm coming from. More as I'm doing things like that, I'm going to do, like that'll probably be the first 5 to 10, right? After that, I will probably do something like getting people where I have, not gripes, but I don't have, a huge connection to personally. I won't go, oh, hey, I really like this person. Nobody's jumping out at my end at the moment, which is fine. I don't really want to name drop here and now. But I think a good example of this, let me back up because I'm rambling too much. The rubric I will be using is a personal system. So like the first one that comes out, he's going to be 10 out of 10, right? He is going to be my like go-to all the time. If I'm just chilling out and I need to, like say I'm getting my like anxiety shakes, right? I will sit down, throw him on, not going to name drop because he's the first one I'm going to have out, but I get my shakes, the depression, whatever. It doesn't matter. If I'm having some kind of an episode, I turn on one of his videos almost always immediately because it makes me laugh, makes me relaxed, and tingle out of control. So it's kind of it's a one-stop shop for just stupid stuff that makes me forget about life for a second. But then the next thing will be a legit review. The next rubric is more of a legit review of, hey, he's maybe like, hey, he doesn't have everything for everybody because he doesn't. He's a little more of a creative soul. So he's definitely got like that stupid like pun humor that I love. He's very creative. He's very smart. The only issue being I could see why some people wouldn't like him, and he probably doesn't have the amount of viewers because he's just an older white dude doing it. Well, middle-aged white dude. I wouldn't even say he's 40, late 30s, something like that. Mid to late 30s, maybe 40. He's somewhere around there. He might be older than that now. Anyway, I don't want to talk about him too much just because that's for the review. It'll be a similar style to this where I just kind of ramble on about things, but I'll have more structured notes. And I might even edit this down so it's a little more cohesive. A little music break. Okay. Where were we? ASMR review. Yeah, I want to put that out every so often. I don't know how often that'll be. Because I want that to be kind of a regular thing as well. Like, do that once a week or so. I may do... I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know time frames right now. Again, I'm just starting out. I have like 4 different podcasts I'm doing currently. It's not that I'm not creating things. It's that I have a lot to work on and I don't know what to prioritize at the moment because I don't know what's going to catch on and what's not. So we'll kind of take it as priority go for what people want to see and what I love doing the most. So I feel like I'm going to enjoy being creative. People may enjoy the creative endeavors, but what I am capable of pumping out more is definitely more like interview type things where I'm just talking to people. I feel like that's where I excel, which is weird. So let's get into a little bit of my background as far as that goes, right? Growing up, I was not a social butterfly. There was nothing about me that said, hey, he is going to make a living talking, speaking, being a radio host. No. Like, I would walk around and somebody would look at me and I would hide behind my mother, my grandmother, like somebody. I did not want any kind of attention. I did not want anybody to pay attention to me. Still, there's a part of me that's still like that, but I think it's so much better to have conversations with people. There's something about every single person that is interesting to me. Everybody has a story, everybody has something, and I want to learn about it. It's more of a social learning than a typical, like, college education, right? I was never big on college, never big into going into that, because I want to learn more about people's experiences. I don't really want to learn about whatever they do in college. I've given it a few tries, and it irritates me. I hate it. With that being said, too, with music and ASMR, I've been playing music since I was probably 14, 15, somewhere around there is when I started. I don't remember exactly when I got my first guitar. It was something like 14, 15. Because my brother actually wanted one. I grabbed the guitar. I started playing it. I remember hearing Dio's Holy Diver, trying to play that the best I could just by listening to it on the radio. And it was like surreal. My dad walked into the room and was like, hey, you want to go get a guitar? Because that sounds pretty good. So immediately, pretty much my dad was like, yeah, we'll go get him a full size, like just starter, little like Epiphone SG. Still have it. It's one of my favorites. It's just because it feels natural to me because I started when I was so young, I think. But it does not sound the best. It's not a great guitar, but it's great to me. And that's how I'll kind of be going about the ASMR review, I think. I'll be reviewing who's great to me. It'll be my personal thing. And also going back on that, too, I've been listening to ASMR for about a decade now. Almost as long as I've been playing music, I've been listening to ASMR. I've been very sound-oriented. Even now when I'm listening to this, the music I have going on in my headphones is... Oh, God, what's her name? It's the Fine Constant, so the Fine Constant, the Fine Constant. Sarah Longfield, absolutely incredible. I feel like she's the best, what I call it, progressive ambience music. It's absolutely wonderful to have in the background. It's just instrumentals. So, she sings in a lot of her stuff, but I tend to listen to stuff without the singing because I like the ambience. If they're singing, I feel like I need to pay attention to the lyrics and the thoughts and everything else. Being an bass player and singer, it's just something I really appreciate. Yeah, and I just have that going while I'm recording most of the time. Or right now. I feel like it's really easy to just have that going and also just talk over that. It's like something else is happening, so it's easier for me to do this. Let's see, what else? What else do I have on my plate? We hit Podcomic, ASMR review. When this is out, the Podcomic will already be a thing. The first episode of the Podcomic is a prologue, I think, right? Epilogues afterwards. Whichever one comes before the actual story. So the real first episode is going to be out, I'm going to say in February. Because I need to work on voice acting for pretty much the first time ever. I've done a little bit of it, but it's all been very easy, close to home in my vocal range, my normal speaking vocal range. So that's not really a thing that I've done too much of. So now I need to come up with kind of characters that are, you can hear the differences in them, and that's going to be a challenge. So let's see, ASMR, Podcomic, Psykicks. Okay, so Psykicks is me and my friend Dom. We've known each other since kindergarten. We were friends for a long time, up until probably about 4th or 5th grade, and then that's really when my friendship with him took a turn for the better. That's kind of where I was like, okay, so I kind of see, like, even in like 4th or 5th grade, my mind was in a mental state of like, okay, let me analyze these two guys that I'm friends with. One of them wasn't going down a life route that I wanted to go down. Dom was like, hey, he seems like a nice kid. He's just kind of doing whatever, playing video games, playing, not even music at that point, but, he was just playing video games, hanging out. Yeah, sure, seems great. Also, we had our buddy Brian who joined in later, and then in middle school, our friend Joe. Since then, that's pretty much been our group of 4, and we've been just going in our different ways. Joe's an amazing artist. Brian's grinding out in his corporate job. He doesn't really like it too much, but at least he has that and he can go through that. I don't have the patience for it, and I kind of envy that because at least he's got money and a nice car and has a way of dealing with life. I've kind of been jumping around through grocery stores and IT jobs. I went to school for IT at a trade school. Best educational experience of my life. Unfortunately, that school has closed, but it taught me a lot and got me my first real world job doing that. So that was cool. Met a lot of cool people. Haven't talked to them in a while. That's fine. I feel like I only need my real core group of friends. Dom, Brian, Joe. Easy. So, Psykicks. Psykicks is, since me and Dom have been friends forever, we're pretty much on the same psychological wavelength. That's why we call it Psykicks, because we're kind of each other's sidekicks. If I say in conquering life, makes it really sound like a relationship. It's not. Well, it is in the way of friendship. But so we have a podcast together where we pretty much just kind of go through day to day, and we just pick up stupid things that we've done and we just riff off them for a while. So it's a comedy podcast where we just kind of, it's 2 friends hanging out, giving each other advice kind of on the stupid stuff that we see throughout our lives. And he's great too. Dom has the mindset of, hey, I'm going to do this thing and this is my new thing. So he was a scrawny little kid in high school. Now he's jacked to shit, doing I think he squats 315. Oh my God, the kid's insane. He goes and does his web developer job. He's got a part-time job doing that. We both work at the same grocery store at the moment, and he works there on the weekends. I work there whenever they want me to work there. And now I just kind of have this side gig, and I'm hoping that this kind of turns into a thing, because that would be great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Whatever. But I'm going to try. So I guess that's a big thing is I am creating. I have a lot of things going on. I'm trying to edit together a bunch of things all at once. The reason why the Podcomic takes so long is it's not off the cuff. It's absolutely written. It's written, directed, edited, recorded, voice acted. It's all me. Every single little bit of it's me, and it's very daunting. I'm surprised I got one episode out with 5 minutes. It's taken hours and hours and hours of work to get 5 minutes worth of content onto YouTube, and it's been absolutely insane just as a start. Again, then there's the anxiety and depression. It's really difficult for me to just get up in the morning and just do things. So a big thing for me is figuring out a way to reward myself for getting up in the morning, to do this work, and then leave for work later, come back, do more of this, edit it together, and upload it. And it's going to be absolutely insane for me to do this all the time. I would love to do this as a full-time gig. I really would. But that's not going to be a thing in the foreseeable future, only because I have one video out, 2 by the end of today with this. All of these, by the way, will be recorded and edited the day of almost all the time. I don't plan on having these be anything short of, I get up, I record these, I have notes beforehand, and I just run through it, editing it and everything else. Because I could just go through and just be like, bang, get rid of dead air, get rid of the get rid of the, all the editing. But I know that's going to be a thing. And I would like for these to be, I'm thinking about half an hour each. Maybe longer than that, depending if I have a lot of things going on. I'm just kind of doing this to make something. This is the first episode in order to be the inspiration for the rest of them, for the rest of the channel, for the rest of just kind of podcasting in general. Right now it's staying on YouTube, but if I can do, I don't know, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, whatever, I'll figure that stuff out as it goes. Also, I'm not big on social media. If you need to reach me, the best place to reach me, I think I'm going to set up a Discord server for the CalmCast, and we'll see how that goes from there. The only other thing I can think of is email. It should be thecalmtheory@gmail.com, and that is the best way probably to reach me as of now. I haven't checked it yet because I assume nobody said anything because, again, I've only had one video out. I know how this works. If you want YouTube content, if you want people watching your stuff, you need to be pumping out shit. And that is the daunting part of this. And whereas I'm getting inspiration to just do this and to edit and pump shit out, the demotivating thing is still living at home, having people around. I have to do this like midday because I work at night. So I have to kind of be done recording by 1 or 2 p.m. And then, because that's around the time where my little brother gets home from school and my mother works in the school system, so she'll be back too at like 3. So that's when I really need to just crank shit out. And so I have from about 8:30, 9:30 in the morning to about 2-ish to really work on this. As far as the voice recording portion of it, the editing, I could do really whenever. I can do that afterwards, beforehand. It doesn't matter to me. But I am creating. I am doing things. A lot of things are coming down the pipe. I just don't know when they're going to land. I don't know when they're going to stick. This is an easy way for me to pump content out while also working on other things. These are good little, like, this is almost like a reward. This is like my bouncy house, right? Where I can just come in, I can rant for like, so far, like right now it's been a half an hour, like exactly. I know it's not going to be that when it comes out, just because I'm going to edit it down. I can see the dead air and the stuttering and the uhs and everything else. I'll get much better with that over time. I know that. Yes, things are coming down the pipe. The Podcomic's my number one. That is the thing I want to do the most. I've had this idea and this world in my mind for a long time. Where I come from on a storytelling perspective is being a DM, dungeon master for Dungeons & Dragons for, I don't know, how long has it been? Let's see, we started playing at the end of high school. I graduated in 2012. So it's been like 7 years-ish at this point. Probably closer to 6 years. So yeah, all that time dungeon mastering one campaign, pretty much, and having that campaign go from absolute disaster to the most fun thing I've ever created. And I'd love to share that. I'm not going to post that story probably ever. I don't want the people who I've run through that to feel like their story has been jeopardized. Their story has felt less special, less significant, especially the 3 I'm looking at right now. The last group I had run were huge Adventure Zone fans. If you have not listened to The Adventure Zone by the McElroys, the same people who do My Brother, and Me, listen to that. It's 69 episodes. And well, the first part that's like extremely popular, right, is that if you go back and listen to episode 1 to episode like 70, there's a couple what they call the Adventure Zone zones. Those are not required in order to thoroughly enjoy the series. That's just kind of them talking about what has happened in the series, kind of recaps, stuff like that. But anyway, I would highly recommend listening to that because it's more of a spot of inspiration to do a D&D podcast for me than it is the direct inspiration to make a D&D podcast. It's or to make a similar D&D podcast. I'd absolutely be doing it in my own style. It's just not going to be the same story I've run because, like I said, I don't want to devalue the experiences my other players have had. I want that to be their own personal experience. If it ever blows up, I don't want them to be like, oh, great, cool. So that's why couldn't it have been us in that? I don't want to. My whole thing is don't be rude to anybody ever. Just don't be rude. If you can, like, you can be assertive and still not be rude about something. So that's kind of what I want to do with this D&D podcast that I will eventually make, I'm sure. I just need to find people who want to commit time to that. And at that point, I'd like to make it monetarily valuable for them to come in and play characters. I want people to put their full effort into it. I don't want it to be just, hey, let's just play this game. And I'd love to have new characters or new players come into the game. People who have not played D&D before would be absolutely wonderful. So that way I can teach them my form of D&D. So that way people don't just assume what to do, where to do it. Because I base it on 5th edition. Because that's the easiest one I feel to get into. It's the easiest one to play. It's the easiest one to write a story for. And it's the easiest one to mess with the rules. So I won't be playing exactly 5e with them. I will, however, be playing more of a narrative-based kind of, the roles will take us where we need to go, not the roles determine what happened to the characters. The roles will determine what happens throughout the story, basically. And if there's a character death, that character, I don't want a character death in the sense of, hey, they died because they fucked up. That doesn't feel good to anybody. If they're going to die, I want it to be significant enough to where they feel like that character did what they needed to do. So that way everybody feels closure. We can move on and then they can bring in a new character. Ideally, I would not like characters to die, but we'll see what happens. If the circumstances call for it, then hey man, characters die in D&D. It's not the end of the world because your character is gone most of the time. At least that's not how it should feel. When I was a player, I had plenty of characters that I had made just kind of die, and it felt like shit. So much, like, I lost so many characters in like a month or two that I just didn't want to play the game anymore. It just completely ruined the game for me. I was like, I don't want to even do this anymore. Then I started DMing. I really started DMing like consistently to the point where there were libraries like clamoring for me to come do D&D games. So I have another story in mind that I'd love to do for a podcast. And hopefully we'll get there. I would love to do that. I know a couple people who are interested and haven't played the game before or haven't played much of it before. I just don't know how long that's going to be. I know people love hearing it, love doing D&D podcasts. I know maybe it's a little oversaturated at this point, but hopefully I can kind of have my stake at story building and character creating through my Podcomic. That's what I hope to kind of establish with that, is being like, hey, I can write a story. Like, it may not be the most phenomenal thing ever because I like a collaborative story effort. I think it just makes for a better story if you can work with people's characters, and which is why I want to do a D&D podcast more than anything. I think that's it. So again, I need to drive this home. I need to just grind this into whoever's listening. Just make something. The Another Idea by Mark Rubier is incredible. Please listen to it. Go check out his channel and sub to that dude because he's amazing. He's incredibly inspiring, at least to me. Maybe it's just because he's being creative and making music, and that's kind of a thing I wish I could do, but not as much as what I am doing now. Like, learning about people, talking to people, just kind of having a conversation. That's what I like doing. I like just having a mic and talking to somebody and just going back and forth with people, just experiencing people, having conversations. That's just what life is. And that's what I kind of just want to put on a pedestal. That's what I want to put as a show, as a thing. So Mark Rubier, Another Idea, absolutely amazing. So that's where my inspiration is coming from. ASMR Review, it's coming out. Podcomic, another one's coming out. Psykicks, we've been working on for about a month and a half now. It's been insane how long this is actually kind of taking for Psykicks to come out comparatively to the rest of the stuff. We're just kind of trying to find our rhythm, our flow. As soon as we find that, it'll be like, okay, cool. This is something we're proud of. This is something that's good enough that we can put out. Cool, great. That's absolutely going to be something special for me and Dom both. Depression and anxiety, trying to get over that. Just kind of in closing, I am creating. I am dropping things. Things will come out. I don't know when. I'm trying my best. It's the beginning's always the worst because you want to get up and go, but you don't know where to start going. So you just kind of run in a direction, then you're just getting lost. So I'm trying to take it one step at a time here and do things right. So this has been Mitch's mic. Keep going.